Okay, so knives out.
Hold on.
Out. Knives out.
Knives out.
So, Knives Out is the new film from writer-director Rian Johnson.
Rian Johnson. Yeah.
Yes, Rian Johnson, starring Ana De Armas, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Toni Collette, Don Johnson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Jaeden Martell, Katherine Langford, Lakeith Stanfield, Noah Sagan, and Christopher Plummer.
Oh, well done, Chief. That was.
I got through them all.
Fine work.
I don't think I forgot anyone.
Well done.
Yeah, well done to me.
And the film follows a whodunit. It's
Who did it? Who did it?
Who did it?
I don't know.
I didn't know. I wasn't in the film. Who did it though?
Someone did it.
Someone did it.
Basically, someone has been murdered. Someone in this rich, somewhat aristocratic American family. And we've got a couple of detectives on the case trying to work out who did it. Everyone's a suspect. Anyone could have done it. And it makes for... Look, this is one of the most entertaining experiences we've had this year.
And not only that, one of the most original experiences we've had this year as well. It is just fantastic. Obviously original script, but one of the most original whodunit murder mysteries you ever see.
Being a Rian Johnson film, this is a genre film with a twist. It's a mystery film with a twist, as you would expect. Actually, because it's a mystery film, there's about 1,000 twists. That's kind of how this thing works. I'd actually go as far to say that this might be the single easiest movie of 2019 for me to recommend. It's hard not to be engaged in a mystery, and I must say that this one really had it all.
Now, when mystery films are done well, for me, they are just an absolute joy to watch in the cinema. Whether it goes from like the thriller side, where you're looking at something like David Fincher kind of usually dives into, or whether it's something down more the comedy realm. And here, what Rian Johnson finds is a perfect balance between kind of the goofiness you find in a mystery and the thriller and the suspenseful elements. So it makes it a really action-packed ride for the entire duration of the film.
It's really explosive. That's how I'd put it. This movie feels like it's incredibly packed. There's things happening all the time. It's incredibly intricate. It's incredibly detailed. And I must say, the most impressive part for me is just how in control of every element Rian Johnson seems to be. He really feels like every single part of this was mapped out, just perfectly planned and then executed in a way that just makes for an incredibly entertaining experience that's also incredibly complex, not just from like a mechanical level of like how this thing comes together, but it actually runs way deeper than the murder mystery kind of at the surface level.
And it's executed well in every single realm. And I think the first realm we'll start in is acting. Because, my goodness, we have some beautiful acting in this film. Whether it comes from Ana De Armas or Daniel Craig or any single person in this cast. It is ridiculous. I don't know which one to start with.
Let's start with Ana De Armas, who I didn't realize going into this movie was essentially going to be more or less the protagonist of the story. And I want to start by saying that she is a magnet for empathy. This character is written in a way that makes her immediately endearing. Certain kind of facets of her character become clear to us very early on, and they're very easy to connect with out of basically a very mixed bunch of rather devious human beings. We have someone who does have a lot of honesty, a lot of kind of emotional honesty, and someone who definitely has a very strong moral compass. And so I found the way that she kind of played that to be really, really endearing.
Yeah, and not only just like incredibly relatable, but also still very much a part of this world, because each character definitely feel as though they are from this world that Rian Johnson has created. And so talking about characters in this world, let's just begin with Daniel Craig, because, I mean, look, we are big, avid Daniel Craig fans, whether it be most recently in something like Logan Lucky, where he just absolutely blows us away with his accent.
Or
Bond, where he's just, you know, showing his chops. Like, the guy has a dynamic range like no one else.
It's a gift when he acts. It's a big deal.
It is. And I feel like not many people really kind of carry on as much as we do.
We really love him.
We love him. And he's fucking fantastic fantastic. And here, again, he shows his dynamic range. He has an incredible accent, which I won't spoil.
I was not expecting, because we didn't watch the trailers, so there we go.
And not only that, but it's like, it's integrated. It's completely embodied. Sometimes accents can kind of come off in a way where, you know, maybe the actor just hadn't had enough time to really prepare. But really you can see here that Daniel Craig has done his research with the accent. It's fully embodied. It's in his face. It's in his mannerisms. It's in the way he talks and engages.
It's so goofy as well, and so having that really lived-in feel really makes it kind of not only more believable, but much more acceptable within the story. And look, everyone else is fantastic here. Everyone else is having a blast. Every character's chemistry with every other character around them is absolutely wonderful to me. We both adored Chris Evans in this movie. The way that the movie kind of uses the context of, I guess, who we know Chris Evans as both a person and in his most popular roles, the way it works for and against him is really, really fantastic and gave him a lot to play with. Like Christopher Plummer as well. Doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in this movie, but when he does turn up, he's precise and totally on point.
And same goes for everyone else in the cast here, whether it be Jamie Lee Curtis or Toni Collette.
Toni Collette was having so much fun.
Oh my God.
So much fun.
Every single actor here is having a hell of a lot of fun. It's clearly well rehearsed and they're very precise. Like every single moment they have on screen is showing us something and telling us something about how they feel about what's going on, how they feel about everyone else in the room, and how they are as a person.
Feels like we came to understand each of these characters really quickly because mainly like the camera has a great attention to detail and the performers are always giving off all these juicy little things for us to absorb. But the quality of the writing really is just that like profoundly exciting.
And it's not often that you watch a film and you just absolutely admire the production design, but here, my goodness, I just wanted to be on this set because it was just stunning.
So lavish.
And so accurate. And like every single little detail, it just added to the home and the environment and how these characters were interacting. But the actual set itself and everything going on within it, it was its own character.
Well, it's like a movie about paying attention to the details. The details can make or break a case. The details are how you discover what's really going on. And so the production design having so many elements involved.
It's paying attention to the details. That's what it is. It's paying attention to the details.
Why have you got a back scratcher? Ah, the scratching is back. Anyway, something about paying attention to the details, and there's so much going on in that production design, so many colors, so many wonderful shapes, and so it is a testament, I think, to just how glorious Steve Yedlin's photography is that it manages to actually highlight all of those elements. The frames are never busy as such, they're never overwhelming, but there's always a plethora of details to absorb, and he does a fantastic job of highlighting those. There's some great kind of, you know, he's one of my favorite cinematographers when it comes to playing with overexposure and underexposure. There's some really interesting things done with low light and then other scenes where the light's just kind of blasting through windows and stuff where it just looks fantastic. There's a really beautiful style to this whole film. Nathan Johnson's original score isn't around all that often, but when it does turn up, it's a blast. It is the life of the party and it gets you incredibly hyped up. I want to say that Bob Duskay's editing once again has a fantastic rhythm to it. It really feels like the movie's trying to earn your attention in every single kind of moment. And for me, it definitely did. I really feel like every kind of element of this movie is working together as kind of one single kind of unanimous organism where everything's working together.
You know what it is? It's like watching ants.
Oh no!
No, stay with me, all right? So you're sitting down the park, right, and you chuck a I don't know, a nectarine, a mandarin, a fruit
so
on the
specific.
ground,
just
right? Just fruit on the ground, right near an ant's nest, and you watch them and the way they all congregate around to do this one job. It's like this film, you know, and everyone involved. It's like watching ants work together to do one job.
I actually said a much simpler version of that, and you've complicated it with Mr. Analogies, buddy. We've missed your analogies. I think what we're trying to say here is that Rian Johnson has made a deliciously entertaining original film. It's a film that, yeah, we might have seen other films in this genre kind of like this, in this mystery realm that exists similar to this, but there's nothing quite like it. It is absolutely wonderfully subversive. All the twists and turns are fantastic, and while all those things that keep us engaged and entertained are happening, it's also a movie that runs way deeper. This is a movie that's very, very involved in exploring greed and class systems and the disparity that we kind of see between different people in not just America, but all around the world. And the fact that Rian Johnson made a movie that can be so entertaining to us while also drawing our attention to this kind of darkness underlying the entire kind of ordeal, the entire fiasco, I think that's a really special thing. Knives Out is the kind of movie that you go to see because you want to see these truly awful people at each other's throats, stirring up this craziness, all this insane energy, all of this like awful, engaging, fun nastiness.
But what you stay for is the heart, and it is just absolutely incredible that Rian Johnson has managed to find that within this film.
This film called Knives Out. Come on, man. So, those are our thoughts on Knives Out. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more banter.
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere, as well as my other channel over there.
And don't forget to check us out on social media, on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, go do that. And if you really want to help support this channel, you can support on Patreon. Thank you to all of you doing that already. You guys are the best, and we will see you again
next time.
real soon. Stop.